What's up, guys? Just wanted to show off this airport. So this is my college town, hometown. I came for Thanksgiving, and it's days like this, when I wonder if I entered the right career, because I was home for just 1 week, and I'm already going back. I don't have any desire to go back, but this is the job that I signed up for. It just doesn't let up, so the grind doesn't stop. So yeah, I don't know. Once I graduate residency, I really want to do something where I can take prolonged vacations, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because this 1 week is nothing, and I'm really tired of all this stuff. So anyways, that's all I want to say. I mean, another 5 weeks of vacation would be nice, but headed back. All right, have a good one.
Selection of free movies and TV shows on your personal device through the United app. Also, soon be coming through the aisle with a variety of complimentary snacks and beverages.
And some days you feel like you just can't win. And this is one of those days, So I had my 1 day off yesterday. Didn't do anything, just slept for half the day. Literally, I was in bed until 12, ate breakfast, realized I'm still tired, went to bed until 4. And then I realized, I need to go to Walmart, buy some things for the apartment, because, I haven't actually done that for a while. So I went and got some milk and some water and some other things. And anyways, whatever, the day ended. I did my Anki cards for the day. I did some questions on Mixapp. And then I wake up, and I'll have to wake up early because I was off yesterday, so there's gonna be some patients I don't know. And then as I'm leaving, out of my garage, there's like a pillar, concrete pillar, right next to my parking space, and I have a reserved parking space, so I have to park next to this fucking pillar. And anyways, I scratched my car in this concrete pillar. So then I look up, that sets me back, because, now I'm like worried about this. I'm like looking up, how much is this gonna cost to repair? Can I just repair it myself? No, you can't repair it yourself because it went through the paint. So it's gonna cost like fucking God knows how much. I haven't gotten an estimate yet, obviously, because I haven't today, but maybe like $1,500, maybe like $2,000, who knows. And anyway, so that's like an entire fucking paycheck. So I won't be paying off my loans this couple weeks. So there's that, and then it's just like insult to injury some days. It's just. What's up, guys? So it's the same day, December 17, and now it is 7:21 p.m. And look at this. I was the only car in the parking lot when I came in, and I'm the only car, or one of the only cars in the parking lot now. And let's just assess that damage again. This will be nice to look at. Look at that. So I gotta get this figured out. How the hell am I supposed to do that when I'm working from God knows when to God knows when? I don't know. It's been a rough day, but I didn't want to end this video on a negative note. So what I will say is this: it's been a long day, and I got a lot to be stressed about. I need to fix that panel as soon as I can. It's already 7:30, and so it's just a long day, but dare I say it was a productive day. It was a productive day, and I did learn some things, and I do feel accomplished coming out. I do feel like I do some useless things as an intern to keep the hospital flowing. but I definitely learn things on a daily basis, and I feel accomplished. And look, I am glad. Ultimately, I am lucky. Praise God, alhamdulillah. I am lucky that I am a future doctor, and this training will end, and you know, one way or another, in 3 years from now, I'll be 3 years older. But you know, thanks to everything, in 3 years I'll be an attending physician. So you know, I am lucky, and I do appreciate that. So that's just kind of like the positive note I guess I wanted to end on. But just got to keep grinding. You know, that's what life is right now, is keep working hard every day. And with every hardship there is ease. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. With every hardship there is ease. So all right, you'll have a good one. What's up, guys? It is December 25, 2025. Another good year almost in the books. So it's 4:26 p.m. So honestly, all things considered, today was a good day. You know, normally I get out of the hospital between 6 and 7 p.m. 4:30, I'll take it. You know, it's good. Well, this has been a rough words block, you know, overall. I've been getting out late pretty consistently, besides today, you know, on this words block, and it's just really made me think about things. You know, something I've been thinking about is this idea of like romanticization of the workaholic culture in America. You know, you read any autobiography or biography of anybody who's successful, I guarantee you somewhere in there, you know, 7 times out of 10, you're going to read a line that says, oh, this guy was such a hard worker that when he was, you know, going to the gym or, you know, going to the library or whatever, he was always the first one there and the last one to leave. You'll always hear that in whatever biography of whatever famous person, because it's supposed to be a good thing, right? It's supposed to be cool. He was the first one there and the last one to leave. But, you know, that's been me the past few days. Not because I necessarily work harder than my co-residents, just because this has been a rough block, and I've gone earlier because I've had to take more time to kind of catch up and read on my patients. And so I've been the first one there. I go and, you know, park in the parking lot at like 4:50. You know, completely dark. Only car in the parking lot, and usually, except for today, you know, I leave pretty late, and I'm the last car there, and there's nothing romantic about that. You know, there's nothing cool about that. There's nothing to be proud of about that. That's something you should be ashamed of, not something you should be proud of. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it just means you don't have a life besides work. And that's honestly what, you know, how I've felt today, and pretty much most of the days for the past few weeks. I mean, like, I don't hate medicine. I mean, and every day there's cool stuff. And I'll just show you guys kind of the scenery here. This is my favorite road. I'm taking the scenic road home today because I got out early and the sun is still up, so I'm gonna get something out of this Christmas, and what I'm gonna get out of it is some nice views. So look at that, it's beautiful. You can see some mountains in the background there, Beartooth Mountains, and you can see the city here, and it's a beautiful road just heading up to the rims. Well, what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, I don't hate medicine. Like today, for example, you know, we had a case of atrial fibrillation And we had to think about what causes that, you know, and as it turns out, it might be related to the patient's albuterol, the beta agonist that they take. You know, albuterol is an agonist of the beta receptors, and of course, the way you want to treat AFib is, you know, by blocking the beta receptors, you know, and so albuterol kind of has the opposite effect, which isn't necessarily a good thing. You got this beautiful view here. But anyways, that's cool, you know, it's cool. You know, every day I'm learning something, but on top of that education, what I get is non-stop, constant stress. And I'll tell you what the stress is about. You know, I'll be in the hospital for God knows how long, you know, 12, 13 hours. And then I'll go home, I'll open up my, you know, portal for like where I get evaluations, and I'll see a professor left an evaluation on me that says, oh, he's lacking in clinical knowledge. You know, oh, he doesn't have the full patient picture. Oh, they'll give me a 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5. And what can I do about it, man? I mean, see, I like learning new things every day, but I can't, you know, when I learn new things, instead of feeling excited about learning new things, I feel like, how do I put it? I feel ashamed. I feel like, not ashamed, just, I don't know, angry, frustrated, because, I don't know, it's just like, you know, my advisor's going to see that, and I'm going to have to talk with them about why I'm getting low evaluations and stuff. So, and then what can I do about it? You know, I get home so late, I don't have time to study. So, you know, what can I do about it? You know, nothing. Just wake up early the next day, go to work the next day, and then wait for the next crappy evaluation, you know. And I don't know, you know, it's rough. A lot of things about residency are rough. But anyways, you know, that's just my rant on work. I don't think it should be romanticized the way it was when I was growing up. Because ultimately the reason people get an education, the reason people train, the reason people do things, the reason people work is to support their family, you know, to support their other goals in life, their primary goals in life. But lately, you know, unfortunately, I've had it backwards where, and not lately, but really for the past almost decade of my life, I've had it backwards where work has been the main thing in my life. So it's been rough. But anyways, you know, my mood is already better because look at this. It's a beautiful view. So I'll step out and show you guys the edge here. There's some nice cliffs here, and then I'll add in the video. But one thing I'll say about the place where I'm doing residency is that the nature here is beautiful. And I think something that's kind of impacted my mood in a negative manner the past few weeks as well is that, you know, I haven't had the time to enjoy this nature because it's always been nighttime when I left work. And so this is a good gift, you know, just for once to, you know, after a few weeks of grinding, to get to enjoy this view. So these are the rim rocks. The weather is nice too. I think it must be like 50 degrees and really good weather for December. Not a white Christmas, but it's not bad. And then this is one of my favorite places in the city right here. Let's come across the edge here. See the city come into view. And look at that. So it's a little too cold for me to spend too much time here today. But still an awesome view. You guys can see right there. That's where I just got out of. That is the hospital. Nice hospital, I suppose. It really is. It's a nice hospital, good views. And then we got downtown here. And then got some industrial stuff. And then on top of the cliffs, we have a suburb called the Heights. And then way down there is the West End, kind of a more developed area of the city. But, you know, this nature always puts me in a good mood, you know, despite everything else. So, anyways, I won't prolong the video too much. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Let's keep working hard. Okay. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas. Willie and Waylon and the boys. God is feuding like the Hatfields and McCoys. This is one of my favorite songs. I got this guy, what's his name? This is Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. Ain't nobody feeling no pain. They got some nice country music stations out here in Montana. That's Willie Nelson's voice. Hank Williams paint songs, Blue Jays sing songs, and Blue Eyes crying in the rain. So Lukenbach, Texas, there ain't nobody feeling no pain. So today was another good day. It is December 31, 2025. So Happy New Year's. The year went by pretty fast, and it was a good day. I'm out of the hospital. The sun is still up. I can't complain. So yeah, these last few weeks, few months of residency have been physically and mentally exhausting. I've felt worn for the past few weeks, but I ended my wards block on Saturday, and I started my ICU block, and it's been a lot better. All that to say, there are mornings when I really, really feel like I hate my job, I'm just cussing all day, and I don't know. There's just times when I question why I went into this field of work, but the problem is not necessarily that I hate medicine, because I don't. It's that I work too much, and unfortunately, as a resident, as a trainee, as somebody who honestly went into residency basically knowing nothing and still feels like an idiot pretty much every day, to some extent, I need to work as much as I work. But God knows it's tiresome. But I'm getting used to it. I don't know. So one thing I'll say is that how do I put it? Wow. You know, this view always improves my mood after a long day. But, you know, on days like this, you know, because I am in the ICU, you realize how lucky you are, you know, to be able to see the sun. How lucky I am, you know, that my immediate family is still alive, you know, because, you know, I've just in the past few days, you know, I've seen so much death, you know, in the ICU. People in their 60s, 50s, younger people dying, people like people in their 20s who are, you know, tied to ECMO machines, you know, mechanical lungs, things like that. So, regardless of how stressed I may be at times, you know, I always have to thank God that my life isn't worse than it could be. So, I was kind of wondering, you know, what should I do today with my extra time? I'm out of the hospital at 4. What should I do with this sunlight? How should I enjoy it? And you know, the gym is closed too, so I can't work out today. So I'm going to show you guys one of the cooler sites in this town. And it's called the Yellowstone Kelly Interpretive Site. It's the grave site of a kind of a journeyman from the 19th century. And that's where I'm driving right now on this road. So yeah, let's go down there. So as I drive to that site, you know, just check this. This is a pretty cool site, you know, it's right underneath the airport, so you got all these planes coming. But as I drive to that site, and it's December 31, I'll just reflect on this year. And it's been an eventful year, you know. It's been probably one of the most, you know, eventful years of my life. And that's one of the pros of, you know, there's pros and cons of the path I chose going to medical school. But one of the pros is that to some extent it keeps you young, and that, you know, instead of working a dead-end job and doing the same thing every day for a whole year, I've had God knows how many experiences this year, and thank God for all of it. I mean, I started the year in January, you know, as a 4th-year medical student. I was on my radiology rotation, and I found out that I have thyroid cancer, papillary thyroid cancer. And this was right before my 8-week block, you know, elective in medical school in Turkey. And so that was something I was looking forward to for a while. So regardless of the diagnosis, I didn't push it back. Papillary thyroid cancer is pretty slow growing, so I did 6 of the 8 weeks in Turkey, but my parents kept calling me, you know, worried, so I came back a little early from there. What a nice view, man. But yeah, I had a great time in Turkey, in a city called Kütahya. Beautiful city, great people, great food, great culture. You know, I miss it already. And you know, Kütahya was a very not mountainous, but a very hilly region. And little did I know, you know, and I was just from the Midwest at that time, so I was like, sometimes I would sit on the, you know, 6th floor of the hospital in Kütahya in Turkey and just stare at the beautiful landscape, you know. And little did I know that for residency I would end up matching in Montana, you know, from the flatlands of America to to the mountainous region. I mean, and I'm in more of a flat area of Montana, but nevertheless, one of the more nicer looking areas of Montana. And little did I know, that I'd end up matching the way that life ends up. And I got my surgery for the papillary thyroid cancer. The scar is mostly gone now. It's right here. And it wasn't eventful. It was a lot happened in the first half of this year for me. And then I graduated medical school in May. And in June, I started my residency here in Montana. And that was the first half of the year. Second half of the year has been a lot of new experiences. The first couple months of residency were exciting, cool. I started to get used to people calling me doctor. At first it was kind of cool, I guess, but now it's not that cool. It's just every time I hear my name, doctor, every time I hear it, I know that somebody wants something from me, and it's kind of annoying, to be honest, at this point. But it was cool at first, and I don't know. Getting used, it was like the honeymoon phase of residency, getting used to everything and people having low expectations of me. And then the latter half of residency, since October or so, since August even, it's been rough, And then, I mean, in August, I went to Yellowstone, I went to the Beartooth Mountains, I kind of explored Montana, but since then haven't done much exploring. I've just been here in my city, trying to become the best doctor I can be. And it's been rough. It's just the stress, getting feedback on one thing or another, in terms of I need to have better clinical reasoning. I need to see the full patient picture. I need to understand the clinical guidelines better. And it's just not something that you can do overnight, and so I study every night. I'm going to go home and study today. It just doesn't happen by itself, and so second half of the residency has been stressful. Hours have been stressful. My life outside of work has been, at times, empty, void, lonely. But regardless, I'm making progress. I'm learning new things every day. Maybe not at the pace that the program directors want me to, but I'm learning new things every day, and I feel like I'm slowly but surely becoming a good doctor. It's only been a few months. I still have a ways to go, but I know I'm making an effort to improve every day, and I'm doing that. So it's been quite the year. A lot going on, and next year won't be as exciting. It's I'm gonna be here in Montana for pretty much the whole year. Maybe I'll spend a week or two somewhere else. But I really expect my skills, my doctoring skills, to go way up next year. I'll take step 3 next year, and then I'll focus on internal medicine. So it's been a good year. And when I have time to really think about it, I am glad that I chose internal medicine as a line of work. It's a very cool line of work. Everything is based in these algorithms, these things which were, studied before. I don't know whether it's the CHADS-VAScs or for, AFib or the PADWAS score for deciding if you want DVT prophylaxis, or, the algorithms for acute coronary syndrome. Everything is rooted in science, and there's just a lot to know, and you kind of become a jack of all trades, and it is a good line of work. It's just too much. I just work too much, but I can't complain. So yeah. And then lastly, before I end this quick reflection on the year, and check out this this site here. What does my future look like in internal medicine? You know, I got that question a lot. What do you want to do when you're done with residency? And I want to pay off my loans. You know, I'm putting money into my loans, you know, every month, but it's just barely paying off the interest, you know. And so I'm thinking maybe I'll work a year as a hospitalist, and then I really want to spend more time overseas. I want to spend more time in Turkey. So I'm thinking about maybe spending some time in Turkey and then coming back to the United States later, either to do a fellowship or to continue working as a hospitalist. And in terms of fellowship, you know, there was a time when I was interested in a GI. It's not realistic for me to match into GI at this point. It's a very hard field to get into, and if I want to go into GI, I really need to start, you know, working on research and stuff right now, which if I really, really wanted to, from the bottom of my heart, if that's what I wanted to, I feel like I could do that, but it's just, I don't have that passion or love for it, you know. It's something that I find somewhat interesting, but not something that I want to dive into head first. And I can't gaslight myself into saying that, you know, it's my ultimate passion or anything like I did when I was a pre-med, because end of the day, you know, medicine is medicine, but it's a job. You know, it's a job. It's something you do. You should have some passion for it. You should try to be the best doctor you can be for the sake of your patients. And I do. I go out of my way to be the best doctor I can be. I study every day, but at the end of the day, the reason I went into medical school was not so I can live and breathe medicine. It was so I can have a good, respectful job that I can feel good about, that I can make a decent amount of money from, and then hopefully, God willing, inshallah, have, you know, a family, have kids, have, you know, have my own life on the side that I can support with my job. You know, that was my number one goal in life, not becoming a doctor. So yeah, so I don't think I'll end up doing GI. I've only been in the ICU for like 3 days now, but I like it so far. And I talked to the attending, and he has a good life. He only has to work like 20 weeks a year. He works longer because, you know, because he wants to, but he only has to work 20 weeks a year, and which means he has a bunch of vacation time. He just went to like the UK for 3 weeks. So I don't know, maybe I'll do pulmonary and critical care medicine one day. You know, God knows, but for now I don't have my mind set on any fellowship. So we'll see how I feel next year. You know, I'll be here next December 31, 12/31/26. I'll still be here in Montana. You know, 1 year older, 1 year wiser, and we'll see how I feel about things at that point. But it's been a good year. So, all right, let's check out this site here. So the scenery here is absolutely stunning. You can see the American flag back there. And here's some information on this guy, Yellowstone Kelly. His grave site is right down there, and I'll walk there in a second, but first I'll show you guys the nice view we have of the city here. Here's some more information on him. Nice thing about coming out here in the winter and on a rare day with good weather is there's no bugs or anything, so I can walk out of here and look at that. This is the city, and all the way down there, Beartooth Mountains. I want to get out there one day again, but haven't had the chance. You see the city there. See that cliff there? That's the Four Dances Recreation Area. What a view. What a view. And right down here is the grave site. Luther Sage, Yellowstone Kelly, 1849 to 1928. You can kind of see some stuff about his life here. You know, he was really a showman, is what he was. And I think he was from New York. One of these things say here. But then he kind of went out west and became more of a showman. You can kind of see there's some more information about him there. Nice little trail here. And this is a good excursion, you know, outside of the hospital on a Wednesday evening. Here we go, Luther Kelly. So you can see he was one of the people to explore Montana, and then this is the Napiers. This battle was fought a little bit west of here, right underneath the Rim Rocks. So we're on top of those cliffs right now, the Rim Rocks. See some more information about him here. So yeah, this is just saying here. So that's his gravesite. We were just there, over there. And this city used to be known as Colson, Montana. It was a Wild West town. And it was settled back in the late 1800s. You know, right underneath that cliff right there was Colson, Montana, right by the riverbank and the railroad. And that was because at the time there was people, you know, settling the west of the United States, you know, on their way to the gold rush. Anyways, eventually this place became a town in between, you know, Seattle and Minneapolis, in between the West and the Midwest. So you can see the railroad down there. See the railroad? That's the railroad there. That's the cliff, Four Dances. And then Colson was like right there. But there's nothing there anymore. Well, yeah. Nice view. Nice excursion. Good year. So I'm gonna go for a little run here. And you guys have a good one. I'll see you next year.